Hey guys, welcome to Patriot Muscle Health, where it's easy to define yourself physically by being physically strong, but we take a look at what it takes to be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually strong. Today we have Alvin Robinson with us and his beautiful wife, and he is running for District 26 Senate, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about his journey and how he has gotten to this point. He's an amazing man and has had we have our plan, right? And then we have God's plan, and it looks kind of like this. But in that process, we end up growing as an individual because of it, in our strength, and also understanding what our true purpose that God has for us. So without any further ado, I would want to introduce Alvin and Rosalind this morning. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what has gotten you to this point.
Yeah, so again, my name is Alvin Robinson. Thanks for having us, by the way. My wife Rosalind here sitting with me. I am native of Greensboro here in Guilford County, North Carolina. As Chrissy said, I'm running for North Carolina State Senate District 26, which is pretty much all of Rockingham County, all of Northern Guilford, and all of Eastern Guilford. Got to this point. It's a long story, but just really thinking about the lack of truth and righteousness in our world today. And so we see that lack of truth and righteousness in our government, and a government right now who has basically abused its power, has taken more power than what it really should have. We see that and we say, how did this happen? Why is this? Well, it's really because of, again, the people's lack of following in truth and righteousness. And when I say truth and righteousness, I'm referring to the truth of who God is and how God is. And when we know who God is and we understand how He is, and so therefore we submit our lives to Him, we too walk in truth and in righteousness. And we take responsibility for ourselves instead of giving that responsibility over to a government of people, human beings who don't know God, and so not knowing God, they will become abusive in nature, rule and tyranny and things like that. And so I'm getting involved, becoming involved, because I've seen that, and I've actually seen it for a while. It even goes back to 2008, where you begin to see people elect our president at the time. So many people that I knew voted for him because of he looked like them, and not really based on the truth of who God is and how God is. Because to stand for to be pro-choice, for an example, to be anti-life, which is to have, or to be anti-life, is certainly in opposition to who God is and how God is. And so I believe that as people, we should first and foremost honor God, and that what God says, how based on who He is and how He is how we should go to the election poll and cast our ballot. And so, again, wanting to bring truth and righteousness to the public square, and to bring glory to God in that way.
So tell us a little bit about what you were doing before all of this. What were you doing job-wise? What are you currently doing job-wise?
Sure. So, prior to December of last year, December of 2021, I had worked 19 years, almost 19 years, not quite, just shy of about 3 months, 19 years almost, with City of Greensboro Fire Department. And the latter 8 of those 19 years, I had worked part-time as a deputy with Guilford County Sheriff's Office. And so we made a living in public safety, and enjoyed it and liked it a whole lot. Was looking to retire. Was looking to retire from there. And as you said earlier, following God, we have our ideas, but His will, we sort of go like this. And so again, back in December, I actually was fired from both of those agencies, as a result of some of the policies put in place for under the the pandemic. And so I stood in truth and righteousness. My body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and so because of that, I had to honor God. I had to obey God rather than man, even though it meant my job loss. But I did honor God, and as a result, I was fired from both agencies. Going back to the original question that you asked me, we think about the founding of this nation. It was founded, or it was started by people who were fleeing Great Britain because of religious liberty. Like that is the sole reason why this country became what it has become, and was founded because of religious freedom, religious liberty. And so, for what happened to me to happen, it just really speaks a lot of volumes as far as where we are today as a nation, where we will fire people from public safety jobs, because they stand upon the truth of who God is and how God is and how He's designed their bodies to be and their bodies to work. This is evil. It's not really a rejection of Alvin. It was a rejection of God, and we must declare that. But anyway, that's the type work I was involved in. Currently, we are doing odd jobs, and we also thank the Lord. Even I guess about 5 years ago now, my wife and I, our family, we started a farm here, small farm operation. So we do things like we raise poultry, both turkeys and chickens for meat, as well as of course eggs. Get plenty of eggs right now. We do a couple gardens. We also raise hogs for meat, and we do a little hobby farming, I guess you say, with some goats that we enjoy their dairy goats milk. So
Well,
but
with the
yeah.
way food prices are, I usually judge how the economy is doing by the price of eggs because I eat a lot. I mean, I probably eat 4 to 6 a day.
Wow.
And so I'm used to buying a big old thing for like a dollar, 89 cents to $1.09. It varies. It was $3.99 yesterday when I went to the store. I've never seen eggs that expensive, and that's at Lidl.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
that's the least expensive place, you know. So anyway, my hats off to the farmer because if it wasn't for the farmers, people wouldn't eat, and they have no idea how to even create food. You know, I mean, some people don't know how to cook food. That's one story, but not even know how to create food. What are you going to do? You know? So at least you've been able to have that in order to feed your family and have, some type of residual income coming in. But I know, savings gets depleted and things like that, especially when you're used to having a certain income. And so I'm just appreciate you for stepping up and knowing not taking a knee in order to fit into a society's mold that didn't fit what you believed in outside of your work, and a lot of religious exemptions were being denied because people refused to go along with, like you said, some of these policies that were implemented into your organization that weren't there before. That was not a part of your job description, is that I'm going to submit to being an experiment, and not take my body seriously because God has given me the health in order to do these things that I'm doing. So tell us a little bit about the county commissioner race that you were in. And I know things didn't turn out in the way that you had hoped, but it also allowed you or inspired you to say, you know what, I'm still going to keep going because God's called me to, establish truth and righteousness to, our government. And I'm being led to do this. So tell us a little bit about that race and then what's going on right now.
Sure. So yeah, back in I guess late February, I did file for to run for the at-large seat, Guilford County Board of Commissioners at-large seat, and it was a great experience in terms of just getting out there, telling people, meeting people, and in the midst of it, pointing them to God, pointing them to Christ. the people in general were very receptive and very glad to see that that a candidate, um, their potential representative, was they were meeting them face to face, and so I put all that out as an encouragement to maybe even an exhortation to all people running for political office to get out there and actually be with the people that you're wanting to vote for you, regardless to what side of things you're on. The people need to know who's representing them. And so, but yeah, I ran that campaign. We ran that campaign, I should say, and it was a success. Even though at the end of the day on May 17th, the numbers, did not give me enough to be uh,
Nominee.
the nominee for the general election. But I did gain 30% of the conservative vote, and that was without, thank God, that was without any sign, any advertisement, or anything, and it was just based on getting out there, talking to people, and declaring the truth about who Jesus is, point blank. And letting them see that especially those who had the same or similar beliefs concerning God, that Christ in government, um, or rather Christ and government do go together. As a matter of fact, again, it is the government's, our society's rejection of Christ again and God that has led us to the place that we are today in terms of the lack of God's blessing that we're seeing in certain areas. So, but yes, it was that was then a few months ago, and so having experienced that, my wife and I began to praise like, Lord, what do we do now? And it was funny. A few days before that election, we actually were thinking about it, talking about it, beginning to pray. Then, Lord, if I don't win, what lead us and guide us as to what you have to do. And after that, we begin to kind of, you know, pick a little bit and say, hey, why don't we go as the write-in for a state Senate seat? And we had actually talked about a state Senate seat back in December, before the redistricting here in North Carolina that kind of took me out of the runnings for the Greensboro Senate district. And so that's when I actually said, well, we'll look at county commissioner. Well, again, leading up to the vote in May, we kind of picked around about if I didn't win the county commissioner seat, well, or the bid for county commissioner, let's look at a write-in for state senate. And so May 17th came and went. About 2 days later, we were following up with some of our supporters and those who endorsed the campaign, and they basically asked, for me to consider running for State Senate District 26. And so Roz and I, of course, laughed at that time because 2 days prior, it was sort of something that we had sort of playfully entertained doing. And so after that conversation, 2 days later, after the election, we prayed about it, thought about it, and a few days later did decide and believe that God is leading us in this direction to at least run and to again to continue to declare truth and righteousness. And that is what we actually had to, as a write-in, you have to gain for that particular seat 250 signatures from citizens in that district. And so we spent probably the last month and a few weeks, all in Rockingham County, Northern Guilford, a little bit in Eastern Guilford, just again talking to people. Sometimes it would take 30 minutes before we actually gained a signature, but just talking to people and engaging with people. It wasn't me talking alone or Rosalind talking alone. We people were talking to us and letting us know what their concerns were. And a lot of the times, most of the time, their concern was similar to ours with regards to the lack of godliness in the world and in homes, fathers and men failing to be men and fathers and things like that. Because that's really a very, very, very fundamental issue. And when you look at the way God has ordered things, He has ordered it that men in society would lead first off in our homes, and then that we would lead in the rest of society, hats off to you, Chrissy, and hats off to my wife and so many others ladies that I've met in the last couple of months, that you're out there doing some things, and it's very much applauded by me. I'm learning a lot. I mean, even this opportunity here. But I will say, that I call upon men to I urge you to step up and be first off men of God that will lead your families in truth and righteousness, and then be able to go into the rest of the world and lead in truth and righteousness. If we don't do that as a society, and if then we have allowed really what happened in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. We've allowed that. We're continuing to allow that to happen over and over again. And so God has an order, and we as human beings, we need to follow that order. And so I urge men to stand up, to step up, stand up for truth and righteousness, and to lead their families and to lead in the world and society. To not be afraid. You may lose some comfort. You're gonna lose some comforts, okay? I lost a great comfort back in December. We made pretty decent wages and things. But what I have not lost is the ability to lay my head down on a pillow at night and know that I've honored God, and I have not lost the ability, or rather, what I've gained is when I tell my son, hey, son, at times in life you're gonna have to stand up and do what is right, even though you may lose something. Not only is that just a proverb now, okay, but it's been demonstrated. And I don't boast in Alvin, I boast in God. God is the one who gave me the strength to do that. And if you know him, he will give you the strength to stand firm in truth and righteousness when the time comes. And I think we're living in a day where it's just there. We all of us have to stand in truth and righteousness. Male, female, if you know the Lord, then that's what you have to do. And if you don't know the Lord, then I urge you to cry out to him for salvation, to repent, to turn from sin, and to turn from him in truth and righteousness. And because he's soon to return. And so only those who have honored him with their lives will be found rewarded in his sight and in his presence.
This is so awesome. I love to hear you speak. I always feel the Holy Spirit when you're around. And since I've been, on this journey for the last 2 years and getting involved and seeing how arbitrary our government was. I mean, I've gotten a copy of the state constitution. I'll be more than happy to send that to you. And I spoke to Krista McMaster's the Liberty Bell last week, and we kind of went through some different areas that maybe I can have some conversations with people about, well, this is exactly what we really can do, and this is what happened, and this was illegal, but it's giving people the opportunity. The information is out there, but the information has also been hidden. And I think some of our representatives probably don't even know what exactly is in the Constitution. And it's unfortunate that some of these bills go forward and the language is so dense, and people get, if it's like me and I'm having to read something like that, I start daydreaming and and I don't understand, and then I have to go back and read it. And this is what they probably want. And then on page 92 or 100, this is where this information is. Who has time to go through all that bill? And so the bill that ends up getting passed has nothing to do with whatever the headline is. It might have 1/3 of that, but then what happened to the rest of it? And it's unfortunate that some of the people that are in power right now, I met Alvin not only with the Guilford Patriots meeting, but I also met him Convention of States meeting. And him and I both are advocates for that. That pretty much is how I got into fighting for this country, is learning about the Convention of States and what it is. And the resolution that is on the platform right now deals with term limits, which is something that to me is a nonpartisan issue. That leads to ineffective government, and that leads to people that are in those positions focusing only on what is allowing them to be elected again so that they can continue to hold that power. Because why would they vote on a term limit whenever that could affect their ability to have that job, and that affects their paycheck? The other thing that Convention of States deals with is the financial overreach and also the power overreach of the government. And I think we really need to turn the power back into smaller and more efficient governments at the state level and at the local level. Because if you really look at the Constitution and what the federal government has the ability to oversee, healthcare is not one of those.
Right. Absolutely.
Education is not one of those. And those are the two things that I'm running on as well. And there are ways in our state constitution that we can be able to make some changes that hopefully that will give everybody the ability to make the choices that is best for them, because a one size fits all standard doesn't work. I mean, how many times have you bought a one size fits all t-shirt? Did that fit? Me being a short person, no, it comes down to my knees if it's a one size fits all. Rosalind, let's talk to you. We got a few more minutes. How has your husband's ability to go out and do all these things, how has that affected you and the family? I mean, are you a stay-at-home mom or do you currently work? Tell us a little bit about you and how you've been affected.
Yes, no, I appreciate you asking, and thanks for having us, Christy.
Yeah.
Basically, yes, I'm a stay-at-home mom and a homeschool mom, and have been since 2000, can't remember, 2009, probably 2008.
How old were your children when you started homeschooling, or did you do it right away when they were born?
Yeah, my oldest, she actually went to school. She did kindergarten, first grade, middle of second grade when we took her out. And then the youngest three, that's all they know. They've only been in school. So we have 4 children.
Okay.
And similar, that 2008 mark was probably around that time when we began to homeschool. And honestly, for us, it wasn't, oh, we want to homeschool to be an alternative to our Guilford County schools. For us, it really, I think the Lord, Alvin jokes, he talks about talking about homeschooling. And I think at that time I tuned that out. I don't even remember the conversation. But long story short, we just really felt like this was the best way that we could disciple our children. And so for us, it was about discipling them. And so I'm thankful that we did that back then, not knowing, not having a clue of what was coming ahead and what we would be faced with. And so Alvin stepping forward, obviously this was something that we had to discuss. It wasn't just Alvin said, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
We really prayed about it and was like, Lord, is this about pride? Are we just being prideful right now? Or is this just something inherently wrong with what is being asked of him? And so we really prayed about it. And the more we looked at it and looked at the law, it's like, no, hands down, this is unconstitutional. This is illegal, what they're asking you to do. And, we have religious liberty given by God. And the government is trying to act like that doesn't matter anymore. And so that is something that was very disturbing. And we did not feel comfortable just going along with it because, yes, ultimately, yes, it'd be comfortable to continue to receive a paycheck, comfortable to know that, everything's going to continue as it had been. But it would not, as far as conviction and conscience, matter of conscience would have been seared moving forward with going along with that, going along with this, or whatever else was being asked. And so we had to take a stand. And, I think that it was interesting around the same time that Alvin was experiencing those, just not knowing decision-wise. We had gotten involved, or at least went to a couple of meetings from the American Renewal Project, and they were encouraging Christian leaders to get involved in government. And simultaneously, we went on a Monday to a training. If you were serious about getting into government, this is what you should do. And that following Wednesday, he was fired. And so we really, it was just like, well, Lord.
There are so many blessings that have occurred in my life. When you make the sacrifice to give up the things that no longer serve you, It is amazing how much God, I loved having these conversations. I just get chill bumps. And every time I talk like this with people, I just know that the Holy Spirit is around. And I just want that same type of peace for everyone. There's a lot of people that are struggling. And because they have been so into the matrix of the systems that we have in place, because maybe they don't have the ability to be uncomfortable because they're already living paycheck to paycheck as it is. And even though they may want to do something, their ability at that moment may not be. And so we've got to depend on leaders like you that, you know what, you've also sacrificed. I can't even imagine, what it takes in order to run a household like that financially. But you know what, if you continue to pray and you continue to say, Lord, I know that you have this, it's amazing amount of blessings that you get in your life. And it may be monetarily, it may be that somebody gives you something, or it could be an opportunity that opens up for you. That's what I've noticed in my own life. I love the barter system. I worked at Aaron's farm this morning and I didn't get any produce or whatever, but she had given me so much the last time, I felt obligated to kind of go back again, but I enjoy stuff like that. As a personal trainer, I would always trade out personal training services for other things that I needed, like energy healing work or chiropractic care. And people need to kind of get back to doing things like that. We need to be of service to others, not service to self.
Yeah.
And when you are service to self, you end up being unhappy because you never can attain all the things that society is telling you that you need in order to be happy. You never can get those things, because as soon as you have those things, you still want more. And, when you eliminate a lot of the distractions from your life that you think that make you happy, and once you don't have those anymore, it's amazing to see how you truly can change and have peace in your life without so much. Because you end up having a whole lot more that you didn't even realize that you had, that's not superficial, that's there to stay. So anyway, do you have anything else to add? I don't want to keep you any longer this morning.
I don't think so. Again, we appreciate, this time you interviewed us, and
Yeah.
appreciate.
Well, how can we find you? How can we donate to your campaign? What is your website? And then I'm also going to leave it in the description, folks, so that you can find him and donate to his campaign or volunteer. We need all the help that we can get, guys. We're a grassroots organization, and we're just trying to make changes for we the people. So how can we get in contact with you?
Yeah, so my website currently is Alvin Robinson Commissioner.com. Alvin Robinson Commissioner.com. If you go there, currently the actual content is all up to date. And the domain will probably be changing. I have to wait on some things with the state before I can do that. But that'll be under construction hopefully in the next week or two. But within that website, yes, you'll see you'll find my phone number as well as my email address, which is Alvin Robinson PO at gmail.com. And I do answer phone calls as well as email pretty quickly.
Okay.
So yeah, you can find us there.
Now, do you sell the products on your farm, right? So somebody can purchase a hog, or somebody can come and buy eggs from you. Do you have a website for that as well?
Not right now. The political stuff has slowed that down, but the same phone number, 336-908-4772. You
Okay.
call us there. Most of what we sell, we can get it to you within a few hours to a day's time. And so, but yeah, you could just call us. And Scrappy Grit Farm. Again, you won't find us on social media or anything like that. But give us a call, 336-908-4772.
Okay.
And we'll let you know what we have in stock, and we'll make arrangements to get it to you if you're interested.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. And if you click on my website, Chrissy Smith, the number 4, and it's Chrissy, CHRISSY Smith, the number 4, House 58. There's a tab that says grassroots candidates. Alvin will be on there, and his contact information will be on there. So in case you can't find it in the description or miss this part of the interview, you can always go there. Thank you so much, and you have a blessed day, Alvin. Thank you so much for the sacrifices that you and your family have made. We really need some people to stand up, because this country was founded on people just like you and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out.